I know.
You're not an industry plant, right?
I am, but
you do feel kind of planty. We do have the same manager, so is this?
I know,
planted?
isn't that crazy?
Feels a bit planty.
This is definitely
you got here in 5 minutes. It took me 20 years.
People say that being born a white man is the key to an easy life, but I disagree. Because if you're a cute white girl on the internet, you will see your stock value reach the moon in an instant. Sophie Rain danced in a Spider-Man suit. Now she's making more money than LeBron James. Haley Welch, she said 2 words. Now she's a millionaire. Sydney Thomas, she smiled during a boxing event, and now it's like she's the new Marilyn Monroe. And Bobbi Althoff, a girl that was not known for being involved in the podcast industry, was able to land massive names such as Drake, Offset, Mark Cuban, and many more. However, although that some of those people were the trending internet celebrities at the time, the public was able to see that their rise to fame wasn't due to their talent, but most likely because someone was pulling the strings behind. In other words, industry plants. And if there's one other thing just as guaranteed as tax and death, is the fact that no matter how much you water your industry plant, her lack of talent will always lead to its premature death. And that's why in today's video we're going to see how Bobbi Althoff went from internet celebrity to dead industry plant within a year. If you don't remember how Bobbi built a podcast brand that would allow her to land renowned celebrities like the toughest rap in the game I named Mr. CLB, well, don't worry, because no one knows. And seeing the generational run she had, you'd think that she had worked her way to the top, but no. However, Bobbi was an actual content creator before starting her podcast, a TikToker may I add, and she did have a pretty big platform. She was making $100,000 per year.
I was making around like 250 to 300 a year.
Thousand.
Yeah.
From brand
deals on TikTok.
Wow.
It doesn't look like it, but Bobbi was definitely balling back then. You might start believing that the content she was making on TikTok had to be similar to the content she's doing now. If that's what you think, then I'm sorry, because you're wrong. Bobbi was known for doing mom content. I can't believe that someone in the industry saw that and thought, this person can become the new face of the podcast industry. This person can deliver quality interviews with guys like Offset. The Snow Bunny skin allows you to start the game at level 99. Some people gotta grind their way to the top. She hacked her way to the top. In her newly began adventure, Bobbi found near instant success, and especially with one of her first videos in which she interviewed Funny Marco. Today this video sits at more than 5 million views, and like I said, for someone who wasn't known in that industry, to get that many views is a massive achievement. But what is even more surprising, that when you see the type of attitude Bobbi displays, you would not expect that many people to tune in, but I'll come back to it later. Her interview with Funny Marco was a massive success, but little did we know that the next video she would release would literally have the internet in a chokehold. No matter what your opinion of that person is after the beef, after the lawsuit that he filed, interviewing someone like Drake that early into your career is an accomplishment, and apparently it's all thanks to Funny Marco.
So Marco and I did an interview together, and it went very viral. I think at minimum each clip got 10 million views.
Okay.
At most, there was on Twitter 100 million views. It went everywhere, and he was mutuals with Drake, so that led to Drake seeing it. And I remember I was with my friends and I got a call from Marco, and he said, look who followed you. And I was like, oh my God, it's crazy. So I DM'd him.
Okay, what'd you say?
When are you coming on? Or something like that.
Listen, she said that she paid someone $300 to get Funny Marco on her show. If it is that easy, do you think I can do it, guys? Do you think I just need to pay that girl $300 and I'll get Funny Marco? And then end up with Drake? Not my bed though, but do you think that's how I can have him on my show? Is it how my career is gonna poof? But having Drake on her podcast is what truly propelled Bobbi to internet stardom, because there was a lot of questions surrounding that person. Who is she? From where does she come from? Because I've never heard of her doing any kind of of podcasts. How did she get Drake? Because Drake rarely does any interviews, so being able to get that man that early, that fast is really an unheard accomplishment. All this mystery surrounding Bobbi really allowed her to become the next trending person. She was basically the white version of Ice Spice, but that's why people started to realize that this person didn't arrive so far into her career thanks to her hard work, but maybe because someone was behind the scene moving a few pawns here and there to allow her to walk on that path. Her being an industry plant actually makes sense.
I know.
You're not an industry plant, right?
I am, but
You do feel kind of planty. We do have the same manager, so is this?
I know.
Isn't
Isn't that crazy?
Feels a bit planty.
This is definitely
you got
like
you got
Luke.
here in 5 minutes. It took me 20 years.
Hey, it has been a minute.
What I think industry plan is, it's like somebody that has been that is tied to someone else in the industry and uses those connections to capitalize, and they have zero talent.
As the host of a podcast, you need to make sure that the viewers, the guest, and possibly you are entertained. And you achieve that by asking the right question and displaying the right attitude. But with Bobbi, it feels like she doesn't care about you, that asking you questions is actually a hassle more than anything. And I know that being nonchalant and kind of sarcastic is part of her brand, but I'm sorry, when someone says that she doesn't even take the time to do research on the person she's about to interview, how are you supposed to feel the opposite way?
I was researching how he interviews people, and I was like, oh God, this is a lot of work. Let me just go in there and know nothing. It's a lot of work. It's so much.
If you're gonna invite me on your show and ask me questions, I expect you to do your homework. Even if you don't care about my life, fake it. I mean, we take any compliments here. We don't really care. But no, for Mrs. Bobbi, this is just too much work. Her job is to interview people, not to be a construction worker, not to be a stockbroker that handles millions of dollars. If you were an actor and you went on stage saying that you didn't learn your lines because it was too much of a hassle, you will get kicked out immediately. But because this is the internet, and like I said, she has this snow bunny skin, she had a pass. But to cruise the game, you still need to put some effort in it. And the problem with those industry plants is that they can't improve to survive on their own. And you may ask why, and the answer is simple. It's because they have no talent. Yes, someone did put you into that position, but because people will at some point get tired of seeing you doing the exact same gimmick over and over again, you are bound to fall. People got tired of seeing that unpleasant attitude coming from Bobbi, and that's why she's been roasted by multiple celebrities or guests she had on her show. The first good example would be Offset. He first cooked her for being on her podcast because people made him go on to.
You wanted to be on my podcast.
Why you keep saying that cap shit, man? I honestly didn't even want to do this shit. I don't fucking do interviews. You heard, you already told me, you looked me up. I'm walking out on bullshit. I'm fucking with you because they're making me.
And then he roasted her for being boring.
You need a little bit of seasoning. You ain't got no seasoning, man. You like a plain piece of chicken just on the thing, you pull it off, and then you serve the dish. You need some motherfucking seasoning, man.
You can leave now.
This is my hotel. I paid for this motherfucker. You can leave now.
If I was getting a reality check like that in front of 4 million people just on YouTube, I would probably take the time to think a little bit, and see how I can improve to make sure that this kind of situation doesn't happen. That's how someone who's worked his way to the top would think. But when you are an industry plant, you don't have the same thought process. When you go on her channel, you see that her 2 latest podcasts can't even pass the bar of the 100,000 views. And she has 1.49 million subscribers, which shows a huge decline in support and interest into her. And yes, the one with Sukina is at 576,000 views. But how come in 2 months you lose 500,000 views? Why? Simple. People are just tired of her. And when you have the fact that she is now seen as a bad mother and possibly wasn't faithful, it's hard to save the image that she built, because let's not forget that she started her content creation journey as a TikToker posting mom content. So possibly being unfaithful or missing your kid's birthday to be in a bed with Drake makes you seem like a bad parent.
You missed your daughter's first birthday for
To
this?
be here.
Dark. Regret that you'll never be able to undo.
Yeah.
Horrible parenting.
If Drake calls you a bad parent, it might be time to join the monks and meditate. This man is known for having tried to hide his kid from the world, that another rapper had to expose him for him to fully acknowledge his offspring. And he calls you a bad parent, even though people speculated that the reason she got divorced was probably because she had a taste of that Drakey snaky. Nothing was ever confirmed until, we can't really say that it's a confirmation, but Ryan Garcia tweeted that he kissed her after Drake smashed her.
I have 2 kids. The last thing I want to be is divorced with 2 kids and 30. That's
Oh my
crazy.
God.
But we're going to be 30. We have 2 more years left.
I know.
I have 3.
So what you doing for these 2 years? You gonna be a
I have to do yeah, maybe I will.
I don't know, you said you married young and you have your 2 kids already and you're divorced. Isn't that what divorced people do after that?
Just sleep around and have fun. I feel like I haven't been yet, but I might have it in me a little bit later.
I think after your divorce, a lot of people were expecting you to say, like, I don't know, spending more time with your kid, probably invest yourself in your podcast, not that you were gonna start popping those balls on yacht in Miami, but hey, everyone has different plans this summer, I guess. But when you see her every time asking people, am I your type?
What would you rate me on a scale from 1 to 10?
Am I your type?
Maybe it was like a small indicator of the path that she was going to take. I don't know. She did say that she was a goal-oriented person, that she wanted to be famous, and that she loved money. That's also why people thought that she was going to take her content to the next level.
250 is great and all, but it's hard to come up with content with just me every day.
$250,000 a year as an annual income is great and all.
Yes.
It is great.
It is
It's
great.
If 300k a year is alright and feels like an average salary, maybe we should help her get to a yearly income of 10 milli. Despite being given the world on a diamond plate, Bobbi was still able to ruin her career. And that's a trait we find in nearly every single industry plan we've seen. They either fade into irrelevance because the public gets tired of them abusing that single gimmick. I mean, a good example would be Ice Spice. As of right now, her career is as alive as a dodo. If she doesn't shake that cake, you won't even notice her. I think the moral of this story is that a rose under the sun will shine, but when winter comes, she will just rot to her death. Whereas a tree like me doesn't need anything except for your support, obviously. No matter the season, I'll continue to grow, get stronger and better, I guess. But yeah, so that's why you should probably subscribe to my channel if you like my content. But I just want to say that I don't think that Bobbi's life is over. She is probably most likely set for life. She most likely has millions in the bank, so that's not the issue. It's more about her career in itself. That is probably over. But that'll be all for today's video, guys. I hope you had a great time watching my video, and if you did like the content, don't hesitate to subscribe, share with a friend, like, comment, let me know what you think about those industry plants in general or just Bobbi, and I hope to see you soon for another one.